Welcome to How to Have Career Conversations with Your Manager as a part of the Career Accelerator program. And having career conversations with your manager. Let me repeat that. So, if you are in an organization and you're working for a manager, how do you have a career conversation with your manager? Now, some people that I have talked to about this particular topic, they were like, Lisa, what are you talking about? I am not having a career conversation with my manager because I don't know how that's going to go. I don't know if my manager is going to perceive that I'm trying to take his or her job. I'm not sure how to couch that. I may not have a good relationship with my manager where I feel comfortable in having a career conversation with him or her. Or I may have the relationship with my manager and I'm comfortable with talking to my manager. However, I don't want my manager to think that I'm ready to leave or I'm going to start looking. Those are the things that I hear people say. So sometimes we're hesitant to have a career conversation with our manager. And as I was coming up the corporate ranks, I felt the same way. I felt, this could go one or two ways. And depending on where I am, I wanted to go a certain way. So sometimes that stopped me from having the conversation. And I'm going to share with you a story of an experience that I went through in my career that had to dealt with career conversations. So, my question to you: are you comfortable in having a career conversation with your manager? If the answer is yes, great. Listen and let's move forward. So, listen to the rest of the video. If the answer is no, I want to ask you why. Why are you not comfortable in having a career conversation with your manager? Now, I just want to sort of talk a little bit about the difference between performance reviews, if your organization or your company, if your company do performance reviews, and there's this philosophy around, should I wait for my performance review to have a career conversation with my manager? Because let's think about it. That's a dedicated time that you and your manager are going to be sitting down and you're going to be talking about your performance. You're going to be talking about what happened throughout the year, all that great stuff, right? So I just want to, performance reviews are fine, if that's the time of the year that, you and your manager sit down. But I really, really hope that you and your manager are having more conversations than one time a year or twice a year when it's time for performance reviews or mid-year reviews. I really do hope that. Some organizations are more progressive than others. Some organizations, you might not even talk to your manager until it's time for performance reviews. If that is the case, I truly, truly hope that you take that into consideration when we start looking at organizational cultures. Some organizations are very cutting edge and they have dedicated, or at least your managers have dedicated conversations with their employees around career development. So, but performance reviews in general are backwards looking. You're usually evaluating your performance over the past year. Career conversations really should be forward looking. So, what am I looking to do? What do I want to do? What kind of experience do I want to have? What do I need to get in my toolkit in order for me to get to that next level, whatever that looks like for you. So how many of you, your organizations do what they call IDPs? They're called individual development plans. If your organizations have IDPs, what are they? That's when you and your manager are sitting down, you might be filling out a form, and you're really looking at what they call your development, what you should be working on over the next year to develop in your current position. Or it could be to get you to the next level. The only caution I have with IDPs, and again, guys, you remember I'm HR, right? So I bring a different perspective because I've seen stuff in organizations. Some organizations would do IDPs, and it's sort of a check the box exercise. So, in other words, your manager says, hey, as a part of performance reviews, we have to get your IDP done. And so you and your manager, or you create your IDP and your manager approves it, or however you do it. And then the IDP goes on the shelf and it's not touched, it's not looked at, and it's what I call a check the box exercise. So IDPs is all great and good if it's a living document. So in other words, if you and your manager are sitting down once a month, once a quarter, every 2 weeks, whatever it is, and you're pulling out that IDP and you're looking and making sure, hey, you know what, maybe we need to tweak this. Maybe we need to change this. Hey, I got a new project or a new experience. Hey, I have something new I want to work on. And this is a living document and a working document. And wonderful. Use IDPs. Unfortunately, from an HR perspective, I've seen where the IDP is a check the box exercise. You sit down, we talk, we do it together, and then we don't look at it again until it's time next year for the performance review. So I hope that's not the case. So yes, I would love to hear, because once I start posting these videos, I would love to hear sort of what you guys are doing in your organizations and whether you, again, are having career conversations with your manager. So moving along, the next question, I want to, not question, I want to really, really share with you guys an example of something that happened to me in my career, and it was around career conversations. And so, to set the background for this story, and I'm gonna grab a drink of water because I have braces and my mouth stays dry, so forgive me for that. So this story, live story, happened to me. So I'm sharing a personal story. And I have to set the stage. So I was an HR director in an organization. We were probably about 3,500 employees. And I had I was the HR director and I had my own business unit. So I had my own unit of about, 1,100 employees, had my own HR team, had my own leaders and managers that I worked with. And so I have been in the HR director role for 5 years. 5 years. And I don't know about you guys, but at 5 years, I started to get that itch, right? I was like, okay, I'm starting to get the itch. What's next for me personally in my career? And so I had a manager, of course, and I had a very good relationship with my manager. And she knew exactly the things I was working on and all that great stuff, right? And I had a conversation with her about, I'm an HR director. The next ideal move for me would be to become a vice president of HR. I know those kinds of positions are not just, sitting out there. VP positions are limited. They don't have a lot of VPs running around the organization. So I started to go through this phase of whether I was going to start to look externally, because again, I was at that point where I had that itch and I was like, okay, I'm ready. And so I had made up in my mind, the opportunities are going to be limited here. And even though I had been in this organization for, 5 years, in that role, the director role, maybe it's time for me to start looking externally for VP roles. So I started interviewing and I started getting myself out there and, kind of, looking at the market. And I had interviewed with a company, it was a VP role, and I shared with them what I was looking for, that this, I'm looking for that next step in my career. And I don't know, and of course I'm looking for a job. So I never shared with my manager that I'm looking, right? That could be a career limiting move depending on the relationship you have with your manager. And even though I had a good relationship with my manager, I just did not feel that it was a good idea to share with her that I'm interviewing externally. So I interviewed, got an offer, and I called my manager up because, I had typed up my resignation letter, and I had called her up and I said, hey, I need a meeting with you. And it's not a phone call, because she was in a different office, still locally in the area, but usually a lot of our, one-on-ones was on the phone. So I said, hey, I'm going to need to come over and I'd like to have my one-on-one in person. And so she's like, oh, absolutely. And so I had my resignation letter ready to resign. And so I went to resign. Her and I was in this meeting and I said, hey, it's time for me to, move to my next level. And I interviewed and I got this position. And she looked at me and she said, I'm going to ask you to hold your resignation. I want you to have lunch with the executive vice president of HR and and I knew who that was, I knew the EVP of HR. And she says, so I'm not going to accept your resignation. You need to have lunch with him. My response was like, what? Okay, so I have an offer, and I have an offer from another company, and companies are not going to wait all day, right, for you to respond to an offer. So I said to her, what? Okay. The unfortunate thing is I can buy some time, but I'm gonna need to, it can't be a lunch meeting a month from now, right? She said, oh, no, no, no. As soon as you leave my office, I will be contacting him and you should hear from his admin within 24 hours. Okay. So I didn't know how this was going to go, right? So I thought to myself, this came out of left field. I'm not sure what's getting ready to happen. And how do I prepare for this conversation with my next level? No, I'm sorry, my boss's boss. This is my boss's boss. So how do I prepare for that conversations? Do I prepare for questions? I'm not sure. I don't even know what he's going to say, right? So within a week, I was able to buy some time from this offer a few days, and within 2 or 3 days, the lunch was scheduled, and I went to lunch with him. And so, I'm nervous, not sure what's getting ready to happen, but I wanted to be very forthright and honest with him. And of course, he knew. He said, "Oh yeah, your manager told me, your boss told me you had resigned." And he said, "But I'm glad. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to meet before we accept your resignation." And I said, "Okay, I'm not sure what we're doing here, but okay." Well, this meeting he wanted to have with me was to let me know that there were some organizational changes happening. And of course, they were happening outside of my group that I was the HR director for. So, this is at the top. And he said, we have some organizational changes going on. And one of our divisions, we're going to be moving the headquarters from Massachusetts to the DC, Maryland, Virginia region. A new president is going to be taking on that division, and he would like his executive team to be in the DC, Maryland, Virginia area. And currently, the president of this group, who will be transitioning out of the organization, sits in Massachusetts along with his executive team. So, new president, and he wants to build his team here in the DC market. And we're going to be looking for a VP of HR for this new executive team. And I would like for you to meet with the president, because if you and him hit it off, I want to make you an offer for a VP of HR for for this new division and to stay with the company. I can't even tell you. Shock, wow, right? And so now I understood, why my boss was so adamant about, whoa, 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 wait, have lunch. I'm not taking it. I'm not accepting it. You need to pursue this. And so I met with the new president. Him and I hit it off. He was not new to the company, but he was going to be new to this group, new role for him. And he was willing to take a chance because him and I didn't know each other. And he said, absolutely, I'd like for you to join my executive team. And I said, sir, you will not regret it. Right? So I went back to the company, and that external company, and I declined their offer and said that my company had made a counter offer, and I became VP of HR in my current organization. So, few lessons learned out of that. Number one, my manager, just in communication with her, she knew that I was ready for something new. The way I articulated it to her was not in a threatening way, but I'm ready for the next level. And she was trying to make sure I was getting projects to keep me engaged, but I felt I was ready for the next level. That's number one. Number two, I was open to what my current company wanted to talk to me about. I was very open about that. And so that's another thing, right? Being open. Because if I had not shared where I wanted to go in my career, when she was privy to conversations above my level, right? She would have never known to be like, you know what? Lisa Anderson might be interested in that. She would have never have never known about what I was interested in. And again, she was privy to conversations above me. So she could throw my name in the hat, or she could let her peers and her manager know, hey, I have someone I think we want to keep in the organization, and I think she's about to leave. So that was a huge one. And then for the EVP to say, I want to have lunch with you, and we value you, and we want you to stay, that just warmed my heart. So guess where the loyalty went? Right with my current company. And so I ended up staying with my company an additional 4 years as the BP until we sold the company to another organization. So, what things or what questions should you ask when you're going into a career conversation with your manager? Or what things should you share when you're going to talk to your manager about a career conversations? So, are you prepared to talk about your long-term goals? You have to be prepared to talk about what it is that you're really wanting in your career long term. Because even if it's not short term, if your manager knows what you want to do long term, they can keep that in mind when opportunities arise, projects arise. Also, do you know what you really want? That is huge. A lot of people have not really thought through what they really want. And relate your goals to the business. Um, so if you're a manager already and you manage people, you might, or let's say you're an individual contributor and you want to eventually manage people, your current manager could put you in situations where you can learn how to better work with people, or maybe you manage a project where you become a manager of a project, so your people, the people on the project, are accountable to you. So again, just a few examples of how you can take your goals and the things that you want to accomplish and try to relate it to the business that you're currently working in, or even to your current position. The next point, the next point is, really, if you don't already have this, really think about designing a career action plan. And you can do this with or without your manager. Again, if your manager is supportive, you can definitely do it with your manager. If you're not sure you want to go there, then you can do it without your manager. But what does it look like? Come up with 2 to 5. If you give over 5 action items, it becomes too much. Anywhere between 2 to 5 action items that you can put on your career plan that are actionable. Things, even small things that are going to help you to get a skill or to get an experience that will eventually help you move towards your goal, whatever that next level is. And the plan should be action oriented. Who's doing what by when? So, for example, Lisa's doing a project on, let's say, and I'm HR, remember? So Lisa's doing a project on our compensation strategy by February 1st. Make it actionable. Let me come up with another one. Lisa is working with Janet to, uh, Lisa is working with Janet on executive presence because Janet has great executive presence. So Lisa will be mentored by Janet, I think I said Janet, on executive presence, and will attend or shadow her in meetings. And we're going to do that by the second quarter. So that's another example. And again, you can work with your manager on this, or you can not work with your manager. I really do hope, because I'm a manager, I have an HR team. And if you are a manager, I really hope that you are being open and allowing or setting an environment where your employees can be honest and have career conversations with you. That's a whole nother video that I would do for managers who are managing people, and how you help your folks with career development. Because again, guys, you remember, I have a unique perspective. I come from both sides. I'm the HR person who is normally helping employees and managers with situations, but I'm also a manager myself, where I have a team of people reporting into me. So it comes from two different perspectives, and that's why I feel that I have a unique perspective that I can share with my audience. So, couple things. Let's wrap up. I have some homework for you. I want you to shoot me in our email if any of this video resonated with you. And I would like for you to, if this career conversation content resonated with you, please send me an email, and I'll have a note with my email address on this video. So that's number one. And number two, if you want to learn more, if you want to go deeper into this topic, I want to know what part you want to go deep on. Because again, my goal is to deliver valuable content. So I want to make sure I'm creating content that is going to help you. So I need to know what you need help on. So please drop me an email. And again, I'll have a note up with any feedback, because this is video one for the Career Acceleration Program. So I am going to be making many, many more videos around content. So thanks a lot. Thanks for hanging in there with me. I really, really hope you got something juicy out of this particular content. So thanks a lot. This is Lisa Anderson, Positively in Pursuit, leadership coach, HR professional. Thanks a lot for joining. Thanks a lot for watching this video. Talk to you guys soon. Bye-bye.